In the year of our Lord Sakurai 2018, the meta for Smash 4 has developed and blossomed into a beautiful flower, giving off its aromatic and well-balanced scent for the community. So we know what the best moves in the game are by now. Corn Insta-Pin, Zero Suit Flip Kick, Limit Anything, whatever. But I wanted to give credit to the moves that deserve a little more attention. The moves that, on their own, would be a great addition for any high tier's kit, but for one reason or another are stuck on a character we deem unworthy. This is the top 10 moves on bottom 10 characters. To lay the guidelines down, first things first, I will be using the PGR Backroom version 4 tier list, the most up-to-date and in my opinion trustworthy tier list for the game so far, and is the tier list that a lot of tournaments use to set the limits on low tier brackets and things. In addition to the bottom 10 seen on the PGR version 4 tier list, I'm also going to be throwing in 1111 Miis into the mix, because they are also pretty much considered to be bottom 10, if they're even considered to be characters at all. Second, the judgment for a move's viability is not necessarily how good they are on their respective character, but how good they are in a vacuum. That way I can judge it as objectively as possible. Think of it as, would a top 15 and up character want to have this in their kit? With those criteria set, let's get into this. There's a reason most people pretend the Mii fighters don't exist, and it's because they're secretly afraid of Mii Sword Fighter's ridiculous up air. Even though for some reason Nintendo thought in order to make Mii Sword Fighter viable, he needed damage buffs on literally everything ever, up air has always done 16%. This thing makes Ike's sword look like Meta Knights. Even its quote, weak hit, which is active for a long time by the way, does 10%. We have top tier characters that wish their up air did 10% at all. Don't we, Diddy? It's even relatively safe to land on shield with because of its huge power absolutely pounding shields. If this up air was on a character that could really utilize it, people would complain about it just as much as stuff like Ness's. Unfortunately, while it's super powerful and active, the hitbox is just okay, and it's pretty committal to use. You'll often have to land after committing to it before you can do something else, so it's staying up at number 10 on the list. Zelda isn't exactly well respected by the community in terms of viability in the meta right now, but let me tell you, it's not because of her normals. Zelda's Dare is the best spike in the game, period. You guys posting full glory montages of your Ganon can keep his Dare. I'll take Zelda's, who's always spikes, and is active for, give or take, around 554 frames. Meaning you can make a big zone of note for people off stage, and sometimes not even an air dodge can save them. Not only that, but it has some built-in versatility on stage as well, always leading to a jab reset. And we all know what higher tier characters can do with a good jab block attack. This is enough to put it slightly higher on the list, but spikes in general are rather situational attacks in Smash, and being the best of a niche that small, even with the added versatility, just isn't enough to put you higher than number 9. Projectiles are good. Killing projectiles are better. Chargeable killing projectiles are amazing. Take all of that, add on a little bit of healing, slap it onto an unfinished character, and you get Wii Fit's Sun Salutation. While not dealing the ludicrous damage of a charge shot or Shadow Ball, Sun Salutation is a great move that most characters in the top 10 would like to have. It's pretty quick traveling, kills at reasonable percents, and even comes with a little nifty charging wind box to dissuade approaches before you promptly give them their vitamin D supplement for the day. And the 2% healing is just icing on the cake. There's not much else to say, even though it's arguably in the lower tiers of the giant chargeable ball projectile meta, it's still good enough to warrant a number 8 spot on the list. You may be hard pressed to think of a move Mii Gunner has that stands out enough to be on this list, but think about it. What move do you see Mii Gunner using more than any other? That's right, forward air. Take 1 part Villager Fair and 1 part Lucas Side B, both neutral defining moves for those characters by the way, and add in a dash of Sheik Needles for a bit of annoyance. Add that together, you get the perfect recipe for a top 10 move. Even beyond attacking, the momentum boost this move grants adds a level of versatility when it comes to recovery or cross-ups. Mii Gunner will be the absolute worst character in the game without it, and I can think of several high tiers off the top of my head that would kill to have this move. It's really only a neutral tool though, and it doesn't do much damage or lead into much, so it'll be staying at number 7 on the list. Pac-Man is an interesting character, as he seems a bit unfinished. The designers wanted him to be this crazy setup character, but forgot half the mechanics in this game, like rage and how good shield is. Fortunately, a character doesn't have to be good to have a move worth calling good. It's not Bonus Fruit's problem that the game designers didn't build a decent moveset for Pac-Man around it. With 8 different projectiles at your disposal with different damages, trajectories, and speeds, this move would provide a significant boost to any character's toolbox. Need a tech chase? Orange. Need a stun to land a killing blow? Bell. Option coverage? Melon. You get the idea. If Bonus Fruit was on a character that could really abuse it, it would be a force to be reckoned with, as we have seen characters like Mega Man and Peach do ridiculous things with just one item at their disposal. However, Fruit does have some drawbacks. It's catchable for one, and you can only have one on screen at a time, meaning you can't use it if your opponent steals it. Not only that, but if your opponent throws it back, you cannot actually catch it again. This means despite huge potential when combined with a top tier moveset, Bonus Fruit will stay at number 6. In fighting games, every move has a certain amount of startup lag, or the time it takes for a hitbox to come out and start dealing damage, and end lag, the time it takes for you to be able to act again after the hitbox is over. For Ganon's up smash, the game designers decided to shift the balance of lag way towards the front. This means you get the 4th slowest up smash in the game, but also one of the safest on whiff and shield in the game. Most players won't have the balls to challenge this move in the 1/3 of a second it takes to come out and unleash 24% of fury under their face. Okay. So it ends up being a very safe move to use in the neutral. The fact that it can kill even the heaviest characters in the game before 80% helps add to this fear factor. One can only imagine this move on a character with decent speed. There's not much wrong with it, but the slow startup can be an issue, and its utility is limited to hit stuff really hard, so it won't be making the bottom half of the list. Now we are starting to get to the good stuff. This far down the list we're looking more at the potential and utility of a move would have. This brings us to Bowser Jr.'s Mecha Koopa. Although it seems sort of innocuous at first, once you start analyzing it, Mecha Koopa starts to reveal just how good it could be on a character other than Bowser Jr. Its utility cannot be overstated. You can drop it down and leave it on the ground to cover options like a Lloyd Rocket. You can pick it up and use it as a basic projectile, or throw it off stage to edge guard, or drop it to start combos and confirms.
Put it in the fridge, take it out when you need it, pass it around a table.
You can throw it straight down and bounce back up in front of you. The possibilities are endless. Yes, it can be caught by your opponent, but unlike Pac-Man's Bonus Fruit higher up on the list, it's better in your hands than the opponent's. Not only can you catch it back, but it will also explode when in someone's hands, forcing them to get rid of it quickly and haphazardly, and allowing you to get a new one out soon enough. Though the potential damage and utility of this move is certainly up there, as far as projectile setup moves go, it's definitely one of the slowest and laggiest in the game, sometimes requiring whole seconds to, for instance, get a Mecha Koopa out and into your hands. This keeps it at number 4. There's a reason nice back air has become a meme of Smash commentators, and it's because it's usually one of the best moves in a character's kit. So if a bottom 10 character happens to have one that you could objectively call one of the best back airs in the game, then you know it should hold a pretty high spot on this list. Of course I'm talking about Kirby. Yeah, the flashy up tilt combos and dare spikes may distract you from the fact that Kirby has a bair that stacks up pretty well with the best in the game, like Cloud, ZSS, and Bayonetta especially. But unlike a lot of the other fast bears in this game, this one's actually powerful, dealing 13% on the strong initial hit and killing around the same percents as back airs from the likes of Falcon and even Marth's Tipper. Second, it doesn't really have a lot of lag in general, meaning it can be thrown out while jumping or landing relatively safely. And third, the weak, lingering hitbox can be good for covering edge guards, catching air dodges, or even theoretically landing jab resets. There isn't really anything wrong with this move, and a top 10 character would be glad to have it, but it isn't the best back air on this list. That distinction goes to the next entry on this list. Hey, you know this one had to be on here. Remember all the things I just said about Kirby's back air about 10 seconds ago? Well, take that, then crank everything up about 1 or 2 notches, and then you get Falco's bair. It isn't frame 6, it's frame 4, meaning it's the fastest back air in the game. If a Kirby bair kills at 129, Falco's bair would kill at 111. It also has an absolutely ridiculous auto-cancel threshold of 15 frames, about twice as quick as Bayonetta's. You can use it out of shield, you can use it on shield, you can use it to frame trap. This move really doesn't have anything bad about it. The only thing I could nitpick about it is that the hitbox leaves a little bit to be desired if we compare it to the DLC crew. And I could see someone making an argument that their top tier wouldn't want to trade their back air for it. Still, it definitely warrants its number 2 spot on the list. Next up, some honorable mentions of the moves that just barely missed the cut. First is Zelda's jab, for being the only jab to be plus on shield in the game. Second is Bowser Jr.'s up air, for basically being a more disjointed and slightly more powerful version of Mario's up air. And lastly, we have the down tilt squad. Falco's down tilt for having good range, power, and combo ability, Zelda's for being a great poke and combo tool, and Mii Sword Fighters for having decent combo ability with the frame data rivaling Diddy's. Alright, now with that done, it's time for the number 1 best move on a bottom 10 character. And who else could it be on than the King of Darkness himself? Some characters are bad because their moves are bad. Ganon is bad because everything except his moves are bad. For the ultimate balance of power, versatility, and frame data that would make even the top tiers look on with envy, look no further than Ganon's up air. Give this move to a character with any modicum of speed and watch the meta crumble and the community ask for bans. It's frame 6, making it one of the fastest up airs in the game. It's one of the most damaging at 13%, and kills around 110 to about 140, which is at least in the top 20 for up air kill power. But it isn't just a big dumb kill move, it actually has ridiculous utility. It kills, it juggles, it covers options, it auto-cancels after 24 frames, which is faster than Cloud's, by the way. It gimps, it combo breaks, hell, it can even theoretically jab reset. Ganon's up air does it all. I really cannot think of a downside to this move, besides the fact that it is attached to Ganon. And for that reason, it is number 1 on this list. Alright, I hope I explained myself well enough without being too boring. I didn't want to actually make this a big frame data lecture. I would generally like to know what you think should have been on the list, so leave it in a comment or at me at this Twitter, but please, be cordial. Subscribe for more semi-regular Pushblock content and follow the Pushblock Gaming Twitter for news on the content channel and upcoming tournaments we will be at. See you later, guys.